This young man, named Mukesh, was in his 20s and lived in a slum with limited means. That day was the most difficult in the lives of Mukesh and his two younger sisters. Both of his parents died in an accident. Ultimately, Mukesh's younger sister had to be placed in a boarding school, while he lived with his mother's friend. Of course, Mukesh's presence there was not particularly welcome, as it would certainly add to the burden on his mother's friend's family. Occasionally, after returning from college, Mukesh would visit his parents' graves. There, he met a man named Johnny. They became acquainted and eventually became friends. One day, when he returned home, his aunt asked Mukesh to help prepare drinks for the guests. Among the guests, one woman, Sarika, seemed to notice Mukesh. There, Sarika also offered Mukesh a job as a fruit delivery person. Mukesh came to Sarika's house wanting to start working immediately, but it turned out she was lying. She only wanted to be intimate with him. Sarika asked Mukesh to comply with her request, and she would receive a lot of money from him. From then on, Mukesh frequently visited Sarika's house, and his appearance began to change. This change made her aunt's family suspicious, but Mukesh kept his activities a secret. Mukesh visited Sarika's house every day and flirted with her. However, Sarika grew bored with Mukesh. She began to think she could use Mukesh to make money. She was given the contacts of Sarika's friends who desperately needed someone like Mukesh. From there, Mukesh became acquainted with many women who wanted to flirt. He now also had a lot of money from his job. However, Sarika kept all the money, arguing that if you deposit money in the bank, you had to disclose the source of income. Mukesh didn't want his work to be known to others. A few weeks passed, and Sarika wanted to flirt with Mukesh again. However, at the same time, Sarika's husband suddenly arrived home and witnessed the incident. He was furious and immediately beat them both up. After that, Sarika's husband came to Mukesh's house and told him everything. As a result, Mukesh was kicked out and forced to stay at Johnny's house. Mukesh began to struggle, and he needed to earn money to survive. Mukesh contacted Sarika's friends again, but all of them refused, having grown tired of Mukesh. Then Mukesh considered taking the money Sarika had saved. However, this was impossible because Sarika's husband was definitely there. Then Mukesh asked Johnny for help in retrieving the money. However, when he returned, Johnny said that Sarika hadn't given it to him. Mukesh was utterly frustrated. He tried various ways to earn money, even becoming a street transvestite, but all he received was violence. His life became even more chaotic. Finally, Mukesh broke into Sarika's house and demanded all his money. He threatened Sarika to hand it over, but Sarika said she had already given it to Johnny. This meant that Johnny had been deceiving him. However, Mukesh couldn't believe his friend had deceived him. Moments later, Sarika's husband broke in, but an irritated Mukesh had already beaten Sarika to death and fled. Afterwards, Mukesh returned to Johnny's place, but Johnny had already fled with all his belongings. After contacting one of Johnny's acquaintances, Mukesh learned that Johnny had fled abroad with a large sum of money. Sarika's words turned out to be true. Johnny had betrayed him. Mukesh was devastated. Shortly after, his younger sibling called to inform him that they had escaped from the dormitory and wanted to meet Mukesh. At that moment, the police arrived to arrest him. Cornered and seeing no way out, Mukesh chose to follow Sarika, leaving this world and his younger siblings who needed him so much. Finally, the film ended.